Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. I really do appreciate you checking us out. If you are new to this channel, 2 videos a week now. Subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications that are coming out because every single Friday, I'm bringing you an agent from literally all across this beautiful country. And we're talking to them about marketing and we're talking to them about their real estate business. And literally, whether you're a client thinking about moving to this area or you're another agent out there that's like, man, I don't have a good referral partner for Kansas or Kansas City. I need the person that we're talking to today. So I'm hoping that by the end of this, you have a full Rolodex of 50 individuals that you feel great about calling, handing off your clients to. That is really the ultimate goal here, after all, of my referral network, is to bring value to you as an agent. And hopefully you can just go search this playlist, find someone that fits the criteria. You can watch the video, feel like you get to know, like, and trust them. And then away we go. So today I'm really excited to have Anita on. We're going to get right into it now. Hello, Anita.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Good, good, good. It's so good to see your face. Normally I get to hear your voice from Clubhouse or whatever, but for those that are new to Anita, tell us who Anita is, what she does, what makes her different. Why do your clients choose Anita?
Because they love me. Yeah, my name's Anita Cordell. I live in the Kansas City metropolitan area. I have been selling real estate I just graduated my 20-year mark. So this year has been last year, actually, 2021, that was a big year for me, and so excited for all of the experience that I have and the journey that I've been on. So that's me.
I love it. I love it. Well, before, and you know, I've talked a lot about branding and marketing and using video and using. I mean, you come at this at a totally different level, I think, which is really interesting to hear about your prior life and even some of the stuff that you're still working on and engaged with,
Mhm.
even to this day. So tell the people, and again, whether there are other agents that are looking for a referral partner, if someone in my LinkedIn network clicks on this video, they're like, oh, Matt's talking to a Kansas City agent today, I wonder what that's all about. And they're like, we've been thinking about moving to Kansas City. Tell the people about your branding. About, I think it's super unique and it definitely makes you stand out, which I think is always a great thing. So tell us a little bit about that, kind of your journey with that stuff, and then certainly dig into your prior life before you got into real estate.
Yeah, well, I'm in a transition right now of really trying to rebrand myself and make myself stand out even a little bit further. And so my love for yellow is something that I've been kind of just formulating and really trying to utilize that, because a lot of my circle of influence or my network of friends, they know that I love yellow. It's my joy color, it's my happy place. It just sparks me up. And I think it stems from, as a child, my mother painted our kitchen bright yellow, and at the time it was so bright to me and I did not understand why, but that was like a little seed of joy that stuck with me, and as an adult it just kept growing. And so I am transitioning to try and figure out my rebranding and utilizing the yellow brick road, and help that to transform to be memorable, because there's no place like home. And so I have a hashtag Anita Home, because there's no place like home. So that's my rebranding. I'm still trying to figure all of that out, and get some logos made. And so I'm excited to see what all that ends up looking like and where it lands me. So
I love it. Well, and it's something as simple as yellow, right? Just the color. Because I have a feeling, there's probably people out there that could just Google Kansas City Realtor yellow, and they would probably eventually find you, which I think is so brilliant because it's so broad yet it's so niche at the same time.
right, yeah. My car, I have a Jaguar right now, and I named her Joy Jag because she brings me joy. And she's not yellow, but I have like yellow flowers in it, and just it's always a bringing joy into what I'm doing. So I love it.
I love that. Well, and it's funny when when we did a room several weeks ago, and we were talking about like what are the three adjectives that define us, right? And people were describing me, and I was describing other people in the room because a lot of these folks like me to you, we haven't met in person. And so, but yet the time that we spent on Clubhouse really getting to know each other and understand what makes you unique, different, what your value proposition is, um, that really resonates not just with me, but I know with a lot of other people. And so, to your point, the resounding thing I heard was Matt, Realtor, Atlanta, and Porsche. Like those are the only things that people really remember. And honestly, I'm okay with that, right? Because we need to keep it simple. We need to make it memorable. And for whatever reason people associate those words with us, I think we really need to dig into that. So I love the fact that you're going through this process and really developing something, because I think it's going to be really powerful. So kind of shifting gears, no pun intended, but into the social media stuff. When you think about your brand, when you think about the way that you deliver your message, and again, kind of digging a little more into your prior life and still part of your current life with the film industry, if you will, and television and stuff, I'd be curious to hear your perspective on social media and how we as agents can really utilize all the tools now that we have.
Yeah. So I actually I'm a pastor's kid. And so growing up, my dad would always hand me the microphone and say, "Hey, get up on stage, sing a song, or, pray or give a testimony or whatever." And I, to be honest with you, was an introvert. I was like the ultimate introvert. And so I never really thought that I would grow up as an adult being on stage or acting or whatever. But my ministry at my one of my former churches, I ended up being in their productions for about 10 years, and this was like a mega church. And I transitioned into film and commercial about 5 years into being a real estate agent. So I had already started, so it was about 15 years ago. And I just um have been in over 100 commercials here in the Midwest, as well as regional, and a couple national commercials. And then I've been in film and as well. And so I just have had that training of what to say when other people come and give you a script or whatever. It's different though when you're creating a commercial per se for
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah,
And
big
that's
time.
really in essence what we use social media for, is that basically you're producing a little commercial for yourself, whether it's being comedic or whether it's being serious or whether you're giving information or whether you're just doing it for entertainment. There is a level of that perspective. And to be honest with you, I had a little bit of a challenge starting to do it for myself. I can get onto a script, and if somebody says, "Anita, I need for you to do a commercial for my business," I'm all about that. I can totally do it. Just give me the script and bam, we're right there. But there was a mental block as far as doing it for myself. And I found that you need to do it. Social
Mm.
media is so incredibly powerful. Why else would they years ago begin to have commercials? I mean, why else would they? So if we learn from videography and the video world and bring that into our own business, we're in essence just following the path of other successful people who are out there online. And so I think it's really powerful. I'm learning to get better and better at it for doing it for myself. And it's definitely going to be a way in the future.
Yeah. Well, and what you mentioned there about commercials. So for those of you that, maybe are a little bit younger, back in the day, we had these 30-second commercial spots between television shows
Right.
that, you couldn't like fast forward through. You just had to watch them and sit there and take it, right?
Or running to
But
the house in the kitchen and then come back. Yeah.
that's right. You had 2 minutes, 2 minutes. But that's a really important point, and I don't think a lot of people understand the value of that back then, right? Like that's why commercials cost what they cost to produce, right? It wasn't just about the actual airtime, it was about the production behind it. You were trying to grab someone's attention because you had them sitting there on the couch. So but I love what you said about social media. It is such a powerful tool. And this is honestly something I hadn't thought about, that, if you throw a camera in my face now, I'm good, right? But several years ago, before I started doing social media and stuff, if you had asked me to do it, it would have been like, well, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to talk about? Whereas now I'm like, I have plenty to talk about. So like just hit record, you know. But that's a really interesting piece that you mentioned about the scripting and the mindset shift that it kind of took. Because that was one thing I didn't even think about. That when you're given something to say, when you're, you know, do this with this emotion or flair to it, right? That's super easy for you, who's done hundreds of these back to back to back to back to back. But then when you turn your phone around and you start to hit record, it's a totally different thing, because you're right. You're the executive producer, you're the talent, you're all of it now. And the messages you deliver is really, really important. So talk to us a little bit about your social, about, obviously you mentioned the rebranding and stuff that you're going through now, but talk to me about the intersection of those two, because I think it's really important that people understand that social media is one part of it, but the brand and what people say about you when you aren't in that clubhouse room, or you know, when they're searching for you, how do they remember you? Like, how do those two, you know, really correlate?
Yeah, so I've had a low or a tagline for years. It's to buy or sell, call Anita Cordell. And then what I've added to that is the hashtag Anita Home, and then adding the branding. And I just think that it's so important as far as social media is concerned. I started a YouTube channel, and that YouTube channel is teaching me how to do produce these videos and giving video content, because I so see the value of, just like what you were doing, Matt. It's seeing the value of it, and it's not only just showing the value for clients out there who are looking for an agent in a certain market, but like what you were doing, it's that agent to agent referral. And it's something that I have been uh, blessed to have agent referrals through the years. But it's so vital, because if an agent Googles a certain area, you want to be the first person to pop up based upon your social media presence. And if you don't have any, how can people find you? How can people understand what you do, what systems you have, what your personality is, whether you're serious or whether you're fun? I mean, it's a connection that I think that we are learning every day about.
It's so true. And that's such a good point too. Cause again, if you go back even to like, I think about probably like you know, even 10, 15 years before you got into this business, there was a big book that you looked through for the houses, right? There wasn't the internet. Like, so, you know, conferences, I imagine, was a good way to network with other agents to get agent to agent referrals. But like now there are so many different ways. And social media, of course, I think is the best way, just like you said, because now I can go look at other agents and do I trust them? Do I want to send my clients to them? Or should I find someone else that someone else trusts? You know, it's like that second or third degree of separation. So I think you're exactly right though. And it's why I've tried to create a space like this where 10 years from now, people are going to look back on this and go, this is really ahead of the time. You know, there's not a lot of people that are taking the time, putting in the effort to do this type of stuff yet. And I'm still just like, where do you think this is all going? Like,
Yeah.
this is the I'm interviewing all of my clients for Anita, right? Like, and if you like Anita and if you resonate with her, you're gonna call her, you're gonna look, you know, you're gonna look for her. So I feel like it removes that initial barrier of who's on the other side of that phone, right? Who's on the other screen in the Zoom. So talk to us a little bit about your local area, though, the business that you have built, you know, the people that you generally work with, and not to try to pigeonhole anyone, just your success with people in this business.
Yeah, so I Kansas City is actually, it sits on the state line of both Kansas and Missouri, and I have a license. A lot of agents have their license in both states so that we can cross over into the state line. Kansas City, you can get from one side of the city to the other within about 45 minutes, so it's not a huge city. It's got a lot of great pockets and a lot of great areas, and I have my broker's license on the Missouri side, which is great as well. But I've been known for being relatable, and I tend to get a lot of first time home buyers because I love to teach the process. And so first time home buyers tend to gravitate towards me very well. I answer a lot of questions that way. But I've also worked with investors and, of course, listings. I like to play Cupid. Um, Cupid, meaning that I have a list of off market properties. And when I get a buyer, then they're able to look at my off market listings, or not really listings, but off market properties that aren't on the market yet, but that have sellers that are willing to sell in the right situation. And so sometimes I can play Cupid with that scenario. And it's just, I feel like one of the words that people describe to me is trustworthy, ethical, and relatable. And so I also built my business on faith. And so that makes it hopefully even deeper in my trust. And so I'm just excited to be able to help and assist people. Another thing that I really found myself in situations multiple times is probate situations. I've got multiple probate situations that I'm right now working on. And even death in divorce situations. So I find that I get in these transactions that are a little more challenging and a little more difficult, and it could be from being a pastor's kid and watching my father dealing with pain and suffering and trying to coach people through that. And I think maybe that just comes natural to me. So the PK comes alive in my business, I guess. PK means preacher's kid.
I I got you. Yeah, I grew up with one of our best friends was a PK growing up. So yeah, we're well aware. And of course, here in the Bible Belt in Georgia, it's not unheard of. Well, no, you mentioned something there though that I think is really important, and I hope it doesn't pass by a lot of people. There is a whole nother side of this business, right? Like for the most part, you're helping people that are happy, that
Right.
are going through a really joyous time, right, of their life. It might be their first home, it might be their bigger home that they're growing a family in or whatever. And generally speaking, most people, the majority, are making a move and they're happy about it. But you're right, there's a whole nother side of this business and we don't really hear about a lot of it, when it comes to death and divorce and probate. I mean, everything you mentioned there. So I really appreciate you mentioned that. Because they're I try to be like you on my social, right, like very conscientious of like there's a good side and there's a bad side. There's a pretty side and there's an ugly side, and it's super easy, I think, for us to share all the stuff that's going really really well, and the celebrations and those joyous moments. But yet at the same time, there are some people that get into some situations, whether it is death or divorce, that it's just a result of being in this business, and you never know what's coming on the other side of that phone call sometimes. So I
Right.
really appreciate you mentioning that. Well, so in closing, Anita, tell the people, if everyone is watching this, they're like, you know what, I do know someone to move that's moving to her area. I know an agent that works around that area or is in Missouri and is looking for someone over in Kansas City. Tell the people, what's the fastest way for them to get a hold of you?
My cell phone is 913-706-7418. And just remember to buy or sell, call Anita Cordell, and you'll probably find me.
I love it. I love it. Well, I really appreciate your time. I hear how busy you are. So I appreciate you taking a couple quick minutes here to sit down and chat with me real quick. It really does mean a lot to me.
Yeah,
And so I
thanks
just
for
really
having me on.
appreciate you. Of course. No, thank you. And have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye bye.